I'm Margaret Lewin, and it's time to get sewing on our Lion's quilt.
The very first step of what you need to do is you need to take your 9-inch squares and you need to sew two 2¼ by 10-inch strips, one on each side of it. Once you've done that, 1/4 inch seam, you're going to press them open. Okay? To the outside, not open, I'm sorry. Press them to the outside. Then you're going to come back and you're going to go, okay, time for my next step. You're going to be tempted to cut these off. Don't do it. Leave it just the way they are. And you're going to come in with 2 more of your 2¼ by 10-inch strips, and you're going to lay them down, centering them. Now, if you're concerned about centering, you can fold them in half. You can stick a little pin in there. You can fold this in half, stick a pin in there. Do both sides at once. And then you can take your little strip and you can match up your pins. So take my strip and I'm going to match my pins right up. And then I'll just take and put one there. Put one here. Okay. I'm going to take my second strip, do the same thing, fold it in half, stick a pin in there, then I'm going to open it up, matching up my pins, making sure that they're the same. Then I'll take one pin, put it down here, take the other pin and put it down here. Then I'm going to go over to my sewing machine. I'm going to start here. I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way across. Then I'm going to come here. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way across. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 2 new pieces that I just added. So it would be these 2. And I'm going to, again, press my seams out. So this is where we're at right now, okay? All of our blocks look like this. Now you're thinking, Margaret, you're crazy, girl, because this is not going to turn into a proper quilt block. But it is, okay? I promise. Just, here we go. We'll get this together, I promise. All right, the next thing you do is I want you to take your 12½ inch square ruler. Now remember, I've told you a couple times, this ruler is really important for making this block come out right. You truly do want a 12½ inch square ruler. It just makes it so much easier. I'm going to take some painter's tape. I think this is a quilter's second best tool from our husband's toolboxes, or at least from mine. I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut off 4 pieces of it. I'm going to take that straight edge and I'm going to put it right here on my 6¼ inch mark. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put another one right there on my 6¼ inch mark. I'm going to do another one on this 6¼ inch mark. I'm going to do my last one right over here on this 6¼ inch mark. I'll put it down there. Now the reason why I'm doing that is only for ease of when I'm lining this block up. It's just going to make it really easy. I'm just going to have to look at it and there's my cutting line or my mark of where I need to be lining up. All right. So then I want you to take your ruler. I want you to lay it down on your fabric. And this is my first line up. I'm going to line up this white line, this one, with this point right here. So I line that up. It's my first line up. My second line up is right down here at the base, making certain that, again, my white line is going right through the center. My third line up is right here to make sure that one's going through the center. Then this is my 4th one, and I need to make sure that one's going right through the center, or as close to the center as I can get it. And it looks like it's gonna be right about there. I'm off a little bit here, but there's nothing I can do about it. Must be I didn't sew my line perfectly straight. But we'll be okay. I promise. Well, at least I think we will be. All right, and I'm gonna cut. You ready? I'm gonna go 1 cut, 2, 3. Then I'm gonna walk around my table so I'm not cutting my arm. And there's my 4th cut. Now you can see, once I take these all away, I have my block all ready to sew my half square triangles on. So now let's do that again. Set that one aside. And now I'm gonna grab another one. Here we go. We're gonna use this one next. All right, I'm gonna line this up. I'm gonna take my ruler, and again, we've marked 6 1/4, 6 1/4, 6 1/4, and 6 1/4. I'm gonna use those white lines at my 6 1/4. Whoops. And I am going to line those right up. All right. So we're gonna go lining them up. We're gonna line all 4 of them up. And I think I'm there. So I'm lined up here. I've got 1/4 of an inch. I'm lined up here. I've got 1/4 of an inch here. I've lined up here, and I've got 1/4 of an inch there. And I've lined up here, and right there's my 1/4 of an inch, so I'm good again. So I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna come around, and whoops, and I moved, so now I gotta check it. That's why you try not to move them. You gotta make sure you're right back in there again. Okay, now I'm ready for my 4th cut. 4. Lock your rotary blade, pick off all 4 sides, and there's my block again. So that is your next step. Once you've done that to all your blocks, then we're gonna start adding our 4 corners, because remember, this is what our finished block looks like. So we're at the point where we're almost ready to start adding our 4 corners. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see you again really soon. Bye, everybody.